Be sure to stay tuned into this week's extended edition of Bearcat Update to see Northwest Missouri State President John Jasinski reaction to the Bearcat men's basketball team's 4th national championship in 5 years, and Producer's Pick's first ever guest in KNWT studio. Check it all out right here on extended edition of Bearcat Update.
This is the channel that keeps you connected to Bearcat sports.
Features, highlights, interviews.
Which is also one of the best records in school history. I think it also puts a lot of pressure on us because every team is going to play us really hard.
Now back left side, Hudgens, deep three, left side, yes sir!
These runners compete at the highest level in D2 sports. Let's take it from the track to the field.
Thank you for joining us on the longest running sports television show at Northwest Missouri State. I'm your host, Brodie Wallace. We are a week removed from the Bearcat men's basketball team's 2022 national championship run, a championship run that will undoubtedly go as one of the most impressive runs in NCAA history. As mentioned last week, Northwest finished their 2022 campaign with a 34-5 overall record. Senior guard Trevor Hudgens was named NABC Division II Player of the Year for the 2nd consecutive season. This week, Hudgens was named the finalist for the 2022 Bevo Francis Award. The annual award is given to the player who has had the finest overall season with small college basketball. Hudgens had a chance to become the 2nd Bearcat to win this award since it was first recognized in 2016. Northwest Missouri State basketball legend Justin Pitts was the recipient of this award in 2017. So with that in mind, how does Hudgens' 2022 campaign compare to Pitts' 2017 season? In 2017, Pitts was without question the most talented player in Division II that season, as he averaged just around 21 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds a game, all while shooting nearly 50% from the field. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Hudgens posted historical numbers as he averaged 23 points, 4 assists, and 2 rebounds a game. The stat sheet does not do justice to how amazing Hudgens was this season. Number 12 ranked number 1 in the nation in total points, 3-point field goals made, and 3-point field goals attempted. Pitts and Hudgens were legendary basketball players in their own respect, and both players were able to bring home the hardware for the Cats. Because of their greatness, I thought it would be only right to talk with a very special guest in his own rights about the Bearcats' past 6 seasons of excellence in Division II.
As we all know, the Northwest Missouri State men's basketball team was able to pull off the three-peat, winning their 3rd consecutive national championship. I had an opportunity to speak with Dr. Jasinski, president of Northwest Missouri State, about the championship and received some of his input on what it means for the school.
I've talked to presidents around the country who may go an entire career without having experienced a one national championship. In our case, another one. We don't take it for granted, don't necessarily brag about it, but you be factual and say, well, that's 3 in a row, 4 of the last 5, 8 since 2009 when I took over as president, and that's testimony to everyone, meaning not just the coaches and the players, but the support staff, because athletic trainers and strength and conditioning and everybody else that goes, the administrative staff and the pep band and Bobby Bearcat, steppers, cheer squad, everybody's got a role in it, including the parents. And so the championship itself is something that, we'll reflect on a week later, a month later, a year later, a decade later and say, wow, was that an amazing experience.
Dr. Jasinski mentioned how the support staff played an important role in the championship. He went on to say how impressed he is of the fans and their ability to show up to support the team.
Around the country in Division II, everyone knows that Northwest Missouri State University travels for its sports. And I'm talking about across all of athletics, right? In terms of basketball, as you go down to Municipal Auditorium for the MIAA Conference Championship, wherever we might, if we host the regional championship, in this case we went to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, going to Evansville for the national championship, people know that our fans will be there, and our fans make a difference. So very, very thankful, but it isn't just the fans that are able to be there. As I talk about on the Bearcat Radio Network and elsewhere, the number of listeners, the number that are streaming, we lead the league in terms of streaming across sports. So even the other institutions say, not only do you go to the events, you lead us in the streaming side too, and that just shows everything there is to know about, Bearcats.
There was also praise on the president's relationship between Coach McCollum as well as some of the seniors on the team.
Coach Mack, I was a big basketball follower, have been for decades now. But I saw his very first game as a Bearcat basketball player. It was an away game at Missouri Southern. So our relationship goes back to his playing days, and then certainly thereafter. He came in as the head coach the same year I came in as the president, so we've gotten to know each other, and our families have, and have become close that way. Pretty special and unique relationship. You know, you really don't interact a whole lot during the season. You try not to, and if you're in my shoes. But you know, offers of support and uplifting when needed, etc. But the basketball players, you get to know them a little bit better sometimes. Here's why: because you get to know their families. You know, as you travel and do the road games, you get to know the moms and the dads, the grandmothers, grandfathers, the brothers and sisters, and then you get a chance to get to know them. And so, as I think about Diego, as I think about Trev, having been there for really since the beginning, gotten to know them as young men, as people, not as basketball players. Well, you get to know them as basketball players, right? But you get to know them as young men, and really what their thoughts and dreams are, and really what makes them tick. And it's just been really fun to do that. And knowing that you'll be in touch with them long after their playing days.
Overall, Dr. Jasinski was very impressed with the way the Bearcat men played and advises us not to forget this moment.
Just taking it in, because you don't know when you get back to that level, right? You just never know. And so, fantastic experience. Great game, by the way. I can't wait to go back and watch it, because it was a superb basketball game. And we made sure we kept people on the edge of their seats, and that's good. But ultimately, you come out victorious, and that celebration was fantastic.
It was an honor and a privilege to be able to sit down with Dr. Jasinski to hear about some of his favorite Northwest basketball moments since he's been president of the university. With that, it saddens us to see that Dr. Jasinski will not be returning to Northwest Missouri State after this semester. On April 1st, Dr. Jasinski informed Northwest students and staff about his departure from Northwest Missouri State University with an email from the president's office. Many members of Northwest and Maryville community were surprised to hear this. The email from Dr. Jasinski included information about the decision, saying, Northwest Board of Regents has chosen not to renew my contract that ends June 30th. The board chair indicated to me this verbally and told me that it has nothing to do with the institutions or my performance. That the board feels that we accomplished a tremendous amount since 2009 and the institution is a far better place than it was 13 years ago. But the board wishes to turn to a new chapter. Dr. Jasinski would end the letter with words of encouragement for the Northwest campus, saying, on behalf of Ms. J, I offer our gratitude, love, and best wishes. Here's to a strong end of the 2022 semester. We promise to do our part in leading the way as we celebrate Northwest performance and all that you do in the name of student success. On behalf of the Bearcat Update crew, KNWT Channel 8, and the entire Communications and Mass Media Department here at Northwest, we say thank you to Dr. John Jasinski for being a leader and a role model for everyone. From the campus of Northwest Missouri State to the Maryville community, Dr. J is one of the best examples of what it means to be a Bearcat. From when he first took over as president of Northwest in 2009, Dr. J learned what it meant to be a Bearcat. He did this through connecting with the campus and community with every chance he had. He gained the respect from his peers because of how much he cared about the success of all the students and staff at the university. And as we already saw, Dr. J has always shown pride in wearing the Bearcat green and white. Thank you again to Dr. Jasinski for a great 13 years with Northwest Missouri State University. We hope nothing but the best for you and your family. With that, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will have all the highlights from the Bearcat baseball team's win Saturday against the Newman Jets. You're watching the extended edition of Bearcat Update on KNWT Channel 8.
Northwest Tower Yearbook has dedicated over a century to documenting life on campus and in the Maryville community. The award-winning organization has numerous Pacemaker Awards and a spot in the Associated Collegiate Press Hall of Fame. Learn more about Tower at the handles below.
You should join us on Gen 2 where we go over this week's gaming news and some sweet packs.
Then, tune into Project Delta at the end. Subscribe and turn on post notifications to stay up to date on Gen 2.
Yeah, this is really weird from behind.
That's what she said.
Welcome back to Bearcat Update. The Northwest baseball team is coming off a much-needed series sweep this past weekend against the Newman Jets. The Bearcats are just around the halfway point in the season as they currently hold a 12-19 record on the year, and in the MIAA, the Bearcats have an 8-12 record and sit 8th in the conference. The team struggled early in the season, but they are now winners of 6 of the last 7 games in the MIAA. This weekend, the Bearcats saw a mix of solid pitching performances and timely hitting in order to come away with a sweep. Our reporter, Stephen Crosby, has highlights from the Bearcats' 13-7 win on Saturday. Let's check it out.
Thank you, Brodie. The Northwest Bearcat baseball team was in action this past weekend where they took on Newman University in 3 games at home. The Bearcats won a tough game on Friday 1-0, and I was able to catch the game on Saturday where the Bearcats got off to a hot start, scoring in the first inning with the first run coming in from an RBI off of a Drew Mackey single. That was followed by a 3-run home run by Ryan Koski. The Bearcats would continue scoring in the second inning as they scored 4 more runs off of a Donovan Warren grand slam. I spoke to Donovan after the game to capture his thoughts on the 13-7 victory as well as the season so far.
Feels good. I mean, we came out close to some games in the past, but we're just putting it all together, pitching, fielding, and hitting. We're just trying to hit the ball hard, timely hitting, and just pitch, throw strikes, and field. It was fun, actually. I had the confidence, just knew I was going to hit the ball, wasn't worried about the count, so just put the bat on the ball and just knew that I was going to be good. So we know we're good hitters. I mean, just looking at the balls, watching the pitches, just put something in play. We know that we're going to get the job done. Just have the confidence up in the batter's box. Just do the same thing as we've been doing. Just field, hit, and pitch.
Tensions ran high throughout the game with the Newman dugout getting an early warning for unsportsmanlike conduct. However, the Bearcats were unfazed. Donovan Warren scored another home run, and the Bearcats would end up scoring 5 more times after the second inning. The Bearcat fielding was impressive as well throughout the game, holding off the Newman offensive effort to only 7 runs with only 1 error made. The Bearcats hope to continue improving as their season goes on. I'm Stephen Crosby reporting for Bearcat Update. Back to you, Brodie.
Thanks, Stephen. 2 players that have been lighting it up on the plate for the Bearcats this season has been senior Donovan Warren and junior Drew Mackey. The outfield duo of Warren and Mackey has been the perfect 1-2 punch for the Bearcats in recent weeks. With Warren coming off a 7 RBI game on Saturday, he leads the Bearcats in RBIs this season with 28. Mackey has had a similar approach to manufacturing runs as he leads the team in total bases this season. This includes 9 doubles, 3 triples, and 4 home runs thus far. The Bearcats will hope for more production from the duo this week as Northwest will host a non-conference game against Rockhurst University on Tuesday, before hitting the road to take on Missouri Western in a 3-game weekend series at Griffin Baseball Field. Coverage of these games can be found on the MIAA Network, or you can follow our social media at BearcatUpdate_8 for updates from the games. With that, we're going to take another quick break. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, JD Wessel is back with another edition of Producer's Picks. You're watching the extended edition of Bearcat Update on KNWT, Channel 8.
With abortion being such a hot political topic,
broadcasting their show In the Trenches live to the KXCV KRNW station.
SAC and officers of the University Police Department were present to help coordinate the event.
The new Nottoway Humane Society is an animal shelter that houses cats and dogs here in Maryville.
Media professor Adam Bocart presented his lecture Risk versus Chance at the last lecture series.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Producer's Picks. I'm your host, JD Wessel. This week, we're switching it up for you guys as we have an exclusive in-studio interview with Northwest women's basketball player Emma Atwood. Let's check it out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're here in the studio at KNWT, and today on Producer's Picks, JD Wessel here. And we have a special guest, Emma Atwood from the Northwest Missouri State basketball team. Emma, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's so great to have you on the show today. And we've been keeping up with the team, and you guys are coming off great season. And before we get into that, I kind of wanted to rewind a bit and talk about your coming up through high school and eventually getting recruited at Northwest Missouri State. But before that, again, you are from Leon, Iowa, and went to high school at Central Decatur. In your senior year, you averaged 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists during the season. Pretty impressive for high school. And not to mention the fact that your team finished 99-5 while you were a part of the school. And you eventually committed to Northwest Missouri State. So Emma, my question is, how did you decide to commit to Northwest? What was the coaching staff like? And again, what were some things that played a factor into you making that final decision?
Honestly, I didn't really look at Northwest until about my junior year. I thought for a while I was going to do track in college, so I didn't go on really any basketball visits. I went on visits for track. And then it was my junior year, Northwest reached out to my coach, and so I went on a visit junior year, and then still wasn't sure if I was going to do track or basketball. So, I mean, Northwest was still in the back of my mind for basketball. And then senior year, it was March, and right when basketball ended, and I got an offer for basketball here. So I was deciding between that and then track at UNO. So I don't know, I feel like I just always liked basketball more. And so I ended up choosing basketball, and that's really how it went. So.
Well, that's nice to hear, Emma. And speaking of Coach Meyer, as mentioned before, you guys had a great season. You guys finished with a 17-12 record. That was the best mark since 2010. That season, the Bearcats made a run to the Final Four and ended the season with an MIAA championship and a 29-5 record. Emma, that is a feat that is going to be tough to break, but you guys are off to a good start. Where do you guys see the team moving forward into the future?
I mean, last year our record was not good at all, but over half the games we lost were by single digits, and we were really close a lot of games. And so I think this year we really became more consistent and closed out a lot more games than we normally did in the past. And so there were still plenty of games this year where they were 2 or 3 points at the end and we lost. But I think just how much we are building on the last 3 years, like we're slowly getting better. And then we're a really young team, so that experience I think that everyone has now is just gonna help us that much more next year.
Now, if we could, let's fast forward to this season where you fight your way back from that torn ACL in 2020 and you insert yourself into the starting lineup again going into the 2021 season. And you know, everything kind of comes together for you. You're getting back into the swing of things, getting into shape, getting with the team, building that chemistry. And 4 minutes into the first game of the season, you end up tearing your ACL for a 3rd time.
Yeah, I mean, I told my roommates last year if I ever tear my ACL again, I was just gonna forget basketball because, oh boy, like 3 times is a lot for this type of injury. But I mean, it happened again and it hasn't crossed my mind once. And I feel like the main reason, I mean, obviously I love basketball and I wanna keep playing and I have expectations for myself, but I feel like the main reason is just being a part of the team. Like, it's just always been so fun, like even during practices, during games, and then we do so much like team bonding and preseason, and we're always watching The Bachelorette together one night or just doing stuff like that. And so, yeah, just like the culture that our team has, and then basically the whole Northwest program of everything, I feel like is just what makes everything easier.
I mean, that's phenomenal that you and the team have that type of chemistry where you guys can, you know, go and hang out or talk to each other whenever, no matter if it's about basketball or just life in general. That's a nice thing to have. And with that, Emma, I think I just have one more question. What can Bearcat Nation expect from you and the team next season?
I think because we're more experienced, we know the little things we need to work on, and we're gonna build consistency. I feel like we're going to be pretty unstoppable next year.
I think you guys are set for what should be a good season, so good luck to you guys. And I think I speak for all of Bearcat Nation when I say we are excited to see you guys back in action. Emma, good luck with your recovery and the off season, and thank you again for joining us on Bearcat Update. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I've been your producer, JD Wessel, with another edition of Producer's Picks. I'll send it back to you, Brodie.
Thanks, JD. It's great to see what the women's basketball team was able to accomplish this season. And as you said, we're hoping Emma has a safe and speedy recovery. Now, JD, I know in the past couple weeks we've had our differences about if you should be on the show or not. I think I've been unfair to you for a while now. I wanted to tell everyone from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't tell you sooner that you have no place on my show.
Well, now that that's all sorted out, we're going to wrap things up for this week's episode of the most eye-catching, breathtaking, and glorious extended edition of the longest-running sports television show at Northwest Missouri State, Bearcat Update. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BearcatUpdate_8. As a reminder, the link can be found in the description below. And as always, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and the bell to stay updated with new episodes from KNWT Channel 8. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
This is the channel that keeps you connected to Bearcat Sports.
Features, highlights, interviews.
Which is also one of the best records in school history. I think it also puts a lot of pressure on us because every team is going to play us really hard.
Now back left side, Hudgens, deep three, left side, yes sir!
These runners compete at the highest level in D2 sports. Let's take it from the track to the field.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Bearcat Update. If you missed our last episode, be sure to click here. And for a playlist of past episodes, click here. We'll see you guys next week.